Hey everyone, welcome to Unlogical Sewing. I'm Abhi. I wanted to share how I converted the saree into this cute top and skirt. And I'm very new to YouTube, so support me if you like. Let's get it. So for this, I'm taking this saree. It's a silk georgette fabric and not so transparent. And I'm gonna make my top from the end piece of the saree and a skirt from the field part. Then I'm taking this lining fabric for 1 meter long, which I'm gonna use this in my top. For top, you need shoulder, bust and waist measurements. You need to divide your shoulder width by 2 and bust by 4 plus seam allowance and waist by 4 plus seam allowance, and seam allowance is up to you. Once you have taken your measurements, fold the lining fabric like this. First, I'm marking the length of the top, which is 18 inches, and it includes 2 inches of seam allowance. Then I'm marking the shoulder line for 7 inches. From there, marking 3 inches for the shoulder length. Now I'm going to mark the armhole line from the shoulder point. I'm taking 7 inches below and marking it, and connecting both the points with a straight line. And then joining the shoulder line too. And marking this random straight line at the bottom too. Then I'm just extending the armhole line to mark an armhole round. So for this, I'm taking 1 inch long and marking with a dot. Before that, I'm gonna mark the bust line. For that, I'm taking 9 inches below from the shoulder line. I'm taking 9.5 inches there, which includes the seam allowance of 1.5 inches. Then I'm taking 6 inches below the bust line to mark the waistline, which is 7.75 inches, including 1.5 inches of seam allowance. Once I have done, I'm just joining the bust line and waistline to the bottom line. Then I'm joining bottom line to the waistline with a half an inch of gap to make my top broad at the waistline, like this. Now I'm gonna mark the neckline, which is boat neck. So for that, I'm taking 3 inches below the shoulder line and marking it with a dot and joining with a straight line. Then I'm taking 1.5 inches from the middle and marking it. Then I'm joining both the end with a slanting line across the midpoint to make a neckline. Then repeating the same process with the armhole line too, to make an armhole round. So that's all for the marking of the top. Now I'm going to cut the marked piece out. So once I have done that, now I'm folding the remaining fabric like this. And I'm taking this fabric which we have cut before and placing over it. Make sure you place the fabric equally. Then cut it in the same way. So now I have 2 cut fabrics, which is front and back side of the top. When I unfold this is how my top will look like. Now I'm taking saree's end piece, which is pallu part, and I'm going to cut this border out. After that, I'm taking the lining fabric which we cut before and placing it over the pallu part, and I'm going to cut it in the same way by tracing the measurements. Do this twice to get a front and back side of the top. So when I unfold this is how it will look like. Then take the lining fabric, place it over the right side of the pallu part, and make a stitch from the armhole to the shoulder of the neckline till the armhole other end. So I have made the stitches from armhole to armhole. This is how it will look like. And repeat the same process on the both front and back part. Then flip this out to get the right side out. By doing this process, our neckline will look neat, like this. Now I have two flipped parts, which is front and back side of the top. Make a running stitch over the flipped area so that the lining fabric will stick together. Once I have done that, this is how it will look like. Then repeat the same process on the back side of the top too. Now take the front part of the top, fold it into a half to get the midpoint of the neckline. Then mark the midpoint. Once I have done that, I am taking 2 inches below from the midpoint and marking it. Now cut it straight from the midpoint to the marked point. Now just fold a little bit of fabric in V shape from the cut, then stitch it over it, like this. So once I have done that, this is how it will look like from the front and the back side too. You can see the fabric which I have folded. Now I am taking the border fabric which I have cut before to add some neckline detail, and I am going to stitch this by keeping it on the right side of the fabric. So stitch it like this. Make sure the right side of the border facing the right side of the top. But when it comes to the node, just leave some fabric over there, like this. Repeat the same process at each node. Now I have attached the border fabric over the neckline, and also I have left some fabric over the node so that the node will look neat when it's flipped, like this. Now stitch the remaining fabric by folding like this and repeat the same process over the neckline. So now I have stitched the whole neckline by folding them backwards. Then this is how our node will look like. I just kept the fabric inside the node and stitched it over it. Repeated the same process for the whole neckline. Now just make the running stitches over the neckline at both the end of the neckline, like this, so that they can stick it together. After that, I am taking the back part of the top and placing over the front part, the right side facing right side. Then I am going to join both the shoulders, like this. Make sure the right side facing right side. Once I have done that, this is how it will look like. Now I joined both the shoulders, and I am going to join the sleeves now. For that, I am taking the armhole measurements, the total length of the armhole, so that we can cut the sleeves perfectly. For sleeves, I am taking the remaining fabric where I have cut the top part, then I am cutting the excess fabric out. I am taking 4.5 inches from the middle of the fabric, which includes the seam allowance of half an inch. And I am cutting the excess part on this side too. So my length was 18, so I am taking 9 inches because the fabric is double folded, and I am marking the 9 inches from there. And I am just extending it with a straight line. Now we have to mark a slanting line to join them. Like this. Then I am joining the bottom line with a straight line. Then I am going to cut them out. So now we have two sleeves. This is how it will look like. Then I have made the straight bit fabric to add some borders to the sleeves. Then I'm going to join them on both of the sleeves. Now I have done with the borders. Now I'm going to join the sleeve with the top part. Keep the sleeves from the middle of the shoulder. Then flip them by right side facing the right side, like this. Then join the sleeves and the top like this on the both ends. Now I have joined the sleeves with the top part by right side facing the right side. You can see the stitches I have made at the back side, like this. I have done this on the both sides of the sleeves. Now the top is almost ready, only the side seam is remaining. We have to seam like this to finish the top. Before that, I am going to join the bit fabric to get the bottom line finished. For that, I am taking the straight fabric to attach them with. So once I have done that, this is how our bottom line will look like. And also I have repeated the same process on the back side too. Then I am joined to the side of the tops with the 2 stitches, one to the waist and another to the end at the both sides of the tops. And when I flip this top, this is how it will look like. And I'm just going to add this button at the bottom of the neckline. And my top is done. For skirt, you have to divide your waist by 6.28 and the length is. Now I'm taking the saree's field path which is 44 length and I'm going to cut the border from the both sides. Now I have taken out the borders from both sides of the saree. Each border is 6 inches long. So now I'm keeping my saree double folded from the width. I'm going to mark the waistline. I'm taking 5 here and I'm marking 5, 5, 5 till the end to mark the radius. And I'm taking length of 32 inches from the top and repeating the same and marking it. So then cut it out. This is how it will look like. So when we open up, we have 2 sides of the skirt, which is 2 semicircles. Then I'm going to add the waistband and the border line using the borders we have cut before. Before joining the waistband, join the side of the skirt. After joining one side of the skirt, this is how it will look like. Now I'm going to measure the waistband size by keeping this tape like this. Now I'm taking the border fabric for 40 inches width and 6 inches long, which I'm going to attach it with the waistline. And also I have left the excess fabric for 2 inches because my skirt is side open. I'm going to attach the lining fabric with the border fabric to make it thick with the same length. Once I have done that, I'm going to attach the waistband with the skirt. For that, making the waistband right side facing the skirt's right side and stitch over it till the end. Once I have attached the waistband to the right side, this is how it will look like, and the wrong side will look like this. I have attached it to the band till the end. Then flip the wrong side of the skirt. This is how our stitches will look like. I'm going to fold this fabric on backwards and stitch over it like this. Repeat the same process till the end. So once I've done that, this is how my waistband will look like at the front and the back. And I have finished the same process till the end to make my waistband finished. Then I'm taking this 4 inches long fabric from the remaining field part of the saree to attach it with the bottom of the skirt to add up some height. So once I have done that, this is how it will look like. I'll attach it to the whole bottom of the fabric. Then I've taken this border which we have cut before to attach with the bottom, as same as we did before. the right side facing the right side, and stitch over it till the end. So once I've done that, this is how the skirt's bottom part will look. Then we have to join the remaining side open from the bottom. While joining, I just left 2 inches gap at the top, and I'm going to fold it and stitch it over it. Then I'm just made this knot, and I'm going to insert it with the waistband. And also I'm attaching the tassel at the end of the knot to get some detail. And the skirt is done.